There we are. Hello, Jan. How are you?
Hi, Jeff. I'm doing really good.
You're in your store again.
I am. I've kind of started working Friday afternoons. And of course, we're closed between 12 and 2. So I have 2 hours with nothing to do.
But you
Um, well, I do eat, but I don't eat for 2 hours. It's too far to go home. So anyway, I always bring a project, and you're my project.
I'm the project. Absolutely. Now I hear you had some interesting experience yesterday with inheritance in France.
Yes, I did. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, so bear with me if you've already heard this, but I think it's worth mentioning again because people should be aware of it. I have an Australian girlfriend whose husband passed away, and of course, he had 2 kids from a previous marriage. So, what people do need to know is when it's a second marriage, if they, most people are married under common law, which means everything you acquire once you're married belongs to both of you.
Right.
Anyway, the law in France is anytime there's a precedent marriage or children from a precedent marriage or family, then they get half. So people need to really be aware that if they're into a second marriage, what they can do, and actually my husband, we did talk about this, but my husband and I are going to do this, is there's a formula that you can fill out and do in front of a notary guy, that if either of you pass away, anyway, what you have in common remains in the couple until the other one passes away, because otherwise the children from a previous marriage, they could have actually put her out of her house
God.
and taken their half. So, and it does happen. They would have been legally in their right had she not had this paper, which is called a donation.
I don't
And
have.
it's where the two spouses donate to each other, whatever. I'm not going to get into the details. A notary can go over that with people. But people need to know that without a paper like that in a second marriage, they're not protected at all. The other side of the family can come and take their share, right away. So anyway, so I spent quite a bit of time yesterday with the commissaire priseur, the people that came in and did an inventory of everything in the house, whose painting is that, who's this and that, and furniture down to little knickknacks, and to the notaire and succession rights. And it's she speaks pretty good French, but still there was a lot that she didn't understand, and that's why I was there, was to help her. So people really need to know that when they do move to a foreign country, anywhere really, they should find out what laws protect them
Well,
as an American.
yeah, and there has been a change. There's been a change in the EU, but it's unclear how that will work with anybody. Yeah, that's something
Sure, but
people need to.
yeah, but it would be my advice, go to the consulate, because even the American consulate in Paris, they'll give you a list of international lawyers. I mean, you can ask for anything and they'll provide you with legal information and services. That's what they're there for. But I'm learning it kind of firsthand, and it was a real eye opener to know, because she's just, you're really unprotected had she not taken the step to have a piece of paper between them. So,
Yeah, I know. But talking about language and stuff, when we went to a notaire too after we had been married, and we have a son, so the inheritance with your child is always interesting too.
yeah.
And we went to the notaire. Of course, it was all in French, and then she asked me a deuxième lit.
Enthusiasm what?
Lit.
Lee.
Bed.
Oh, is there a second bed?
No, a deuxième lit is that means that, or premier lit. Maybe it's a premier lit. It means
Uh,
married in the past. Like married.
okay, previously. Okay, like, were you in bed with another
Weird,
woman?
I don't know. Anyway, I didn't. I understood what she was saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's the term.
It's
Because,
like it's an archaic legalese
yeah,
that not everyone's gonna understand. You really have
yeah,
to have been there and understand.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. And I'm a little embarrassed to say, but I will admit it because it was so long ago. But because I've been divorced from my first French husband for about 30 years now. But he actually tried to use against me that I was not doing my homework in bed against me, you know, because it's my devoir. Je ne faisais pas mon devoir. Well, I mean, you know, the marriage was on the rocks.
The marriage is on the rocks. There's not going to be a lot of.
You know, it's like, God. But he actually, you know, there was legal clauses that still had that in there that he tried to pursue. Anyway, it didn't work. But you know, we're still working under Napoleon law, and actually, I saw that come out a couple times yesterday. Again, you know, just the way that the notaire, you know, thinks and the way he calculates and all of that is still just, you know, comes down from Napoleon.
Yeah, it was interesting though when we bought our house or our apartment, the notaire was it was a young guy, and he was not the, you know, a notaire will have assistant notaires and stuff, but he took about 45 minutes to an hour. He read the entire paper to us. I mean, he read every page. It was amazing. Yeah. Wow. And then he explained to us, and he made a little drawing of how everything works, how you split things if one of you dies, how it works with your son. He took over an hour to sit with us and to understand. This is, you know.
Yeah.
And I think,
let me tell you, we do the same thing with this notaire. In fact, my girlfriend and I keep laughing because he repeats himself. I mean, I know I do, and a lot of us do. But he talk about the design. Every time he gets a piece of paper out and a pen, we just look at each other like, oh my God, here we go again. She's got a whole pile of designs, or, you know, drawings of how this whole thing works. And what really stumped us about the price, how much the kids get, the percentage that the kids get, and, you know, what she gets, is what's calculated in there. It's not all mathematic because her rights are calculated in there. Until a certain age, she has so much percentage, her rights to use this and that. So it was really complicated to explain it to her, and, you know, I understood, but there was a lot that I learned too. Like I say, you know, it's more than just a mathematical thing. And the notaire just it took us 3 hours to go over the whole thing.
The notaire, they take you 3 hours. But I think it's a good thing also to know is they don't necessarily work for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. He's definitely on her side, and I think I'll mention this again. It's basically, well, not totally free work, but he's handling the succession. Now, she's bought and sold quite a few different properties, and she always went through this notaire. That doesn't really matter. What he's doing for her now, there is a fixed rate, and he's been doing this for the last 10 months, and she owes 600 euros. So, and that's basically for to cover recording, when I say recording fees, which means, you know, things have to be legally recorded. I'm sure we have a term in English, but, you know, with the state, you know, they have to be recorded and this and that. So a lot of the 600 euros is going to that. And because I think his fees come to like, you know, maybe 150 euros, and he's given us a lot of time over the last 10 months. So, you know, it's pretty much free. You don't have to go through a lawyer, and this guy is really thorough, and it sounds like
notaires are very important in France.
Yeah, and they're quite thorough, and their fees outside of what they do in real estate are quite inexpensive. So.
Yeah, and otherwise it's not real estate we can get into. That's another thing.
Yeah. That's another day. Hey, tell me about how your thing went in Paris at the Champ de Mars.
The Champ de Mars. Well, it didn't go very well because it poured rain.
Oh, did it? Oh,
poured rain.
Sorry, Jack.
So people, I don't know. I think I would have had 5 people had it not rained, and everybody canceled. But 2 people who I will name, Susan and Tom.
Susan and Tom
invited me to their apartment in Montmartre.
In where?
Montmartre.
Ah, in Montmartre. Okay. How
sweet. And I went there, and we spent like 3 hours together talking and this and that. So it was very, very, very interesting in that respect. It was interesting. It wasn't great. It rained, but
now,
I was able in the morning to visit a little bit, and I went to where I had never been. Is Place des États-Unis.
Place what?
Place des États-Unis. Oh, États-Unis. Place États-Unis, United States.
Oh, Place des États-Unis.
États-Unis, it's either Place États-Unis or something like that. Anyway, there's a statue with Washington and Lafayette together.
Oh, okay. Well, that is interesting. I don't know if I don't think I've seen that.
No, I haven't. I met a woman who was going to go to Meaux, which is they have a World War I museum in Meaux, and she was a curator of a museum in San Antonio. World War I museum in San Antonio.
Oh, wow. So she knows her stuff.
You know, her stuff is an American woman. And basically, she told me that a lot of Americans went out of San Antonio to go to Europe in World War I. A lot of American soldiers. That was interesting. Anyway, it was a disaster in terms, it just poured rain. I mean, it rained from 12 until 4, right when I would have to walk. So
how did you time that? Oh my God.
How did I time that one? But anyway, so I met this Tom and Susan who were very nice to me, and that was good.
Yeah. Well, now this Sue and Tom, are they Americans?
They're Americans, yeah, and they're doing a long-term stay. They rent an apartment in Beaumont.
Okay, where are they from in the States?
Berkeley.
Oh, okay, California.
Well, Californians too. Yeah, they're Californians also. Very nice, very nice, and they really enjoy. They kind of go back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. It was very, very interesting, and just different stuff.
Yeah, very good, very, very good.
And I
also,
it kind of to finish here, or what I want to say is that I made a pumpkin pie with my wife made a pumpkin pie, and I made a video that we grow pumpkins.
Oh, well, yeah, you were telling me about your pumpkin patch.
Your pumpkin patch, and we make pumpkin pies.
Okay, so and you're gonna put that on your website?
I put it on the website. Yeah, I have a video. I have a video of us making it, and the recipe, my wife's recipe, which is
okay. Well, that's with knowing. I'm doing a Thanksgiving this year. I think there'll be about 10. Well, between probably 15, 20 people. So I'll have to check out her pumpkin pie recipe.
What do you do for a turkey?
I buy. What a question! And that was really cute. What do you do for a turkey? I buy one.
And you're able to find one.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of down in well, as you probably are too. I'm kind of in an agricultural, area, and there's people that you can go and buy a duck from somebody's farm, and you can, my neighbors have chickens, and so and I've done it several times down here. In fact, who lives down this way is Patricia Wells, and she did. I don't know how much she does anymore, but she did a lot of cooking classes, and a lot of Americans came to this area for her cooking classes, and I think that's why there might be so many down here now. I don't know. It's not like we're on every street corner though. But her and I buy from the same guy our turkeys. There's a guy that has chickens, and he always gets turkeys. So I just go and kind of special order a big turkey, and if I have to do 2, then I do 2.
Oh, okay, that's good, because that's kind of what we do. We buy from a farm. We buy from a farm in the Bresse.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you probably get really good ones because you're in close to Bourg-en-Bresse. Yeah.
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
And they're not as big as an American turkey. My God, is it good.
But years ago, about 30 years, oh God, it makes me feel and look probably really old. But we couldn't get the big challenge with other Americans that I knew was to find who could find cranberries. Well, Ocean Spray has made a big splash since, and cranberries are everywhere. So that's not a problem anymore.
It's not a problem anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, we didn't get to Patrimoine, but we can do that maybe next week.
We can do, well, it's actually the journey, the 2 days, it's a weekend. Places are free. Any public museum or public monument will be free.
Is it this weekend or the weekend next
No, this
weekend?
weekend. It's this weekend.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's definitely worth mentioning, and we can talk about it maybe next Friday.
Yeah. All right, Jan.
Ciao,
Bye-bye.
ciao. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.